Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche pregame show. I'm Rudo, and we've got the PHNX gang here with us, Leah Merrill and Craig Morgan, joining me for the pregame show against the Arizona Coyotes. Thank you for coming on, you two. Are you guys excited for tonight? Are you expecting the usual nonsense that happens in Arizona, Colorado games?
I don't get what happens in Arizona, Colorado games. I don't get whatever success the Coyotes have against Colorado makes no sense to me. Every time they play, to be honest, I expect what we saw in the bubble to happen every time they play the Avalanche.
Yeah, that's how I feel too, especially looking at the standings, looking at the stat comparisons of the players. But somehow, some way, the Coyotes just are good against the Avs in the regular season would be the asterisks on that one.
It's wildly consistent how Arizona manages to pull off this against Colorado in the regular season, like you guys said. It's incredibly frustrating from our side of it, so I hope you guys enjoy it at least when they pull out those wins on your side. For tonight, it is Connor Ingram for you guys in net. On the Avs side, kind of continuing with the same lineups they've ran over the last couple of weeks. No Arturi Lehkonen, and of course, no Sam Girard still. From your guys' side, is this goalie controversial, eternal, never going to end? Is it Ingram? Is it Vejmelka? Which one is it?
Well, it was Connor Ingram for a long time, and then he got a little bit cold. Vejmelka gets a shutout, and suddenly they're riding with Vejmelka. I was wondering if they would come back with Vejmelka tonight, to be honest. So this tells me that Andre may be going back to that goalie rotation that he did literally every other game for the first 20 games of the season. We'll see how it plays out. But listen, he was honest with us all year saying, we're going to need both these guys. You keep asking me if one's going to move at the head of the other. That may happen for a stretch, but it'll probably turn around. And as usual, Andre Tourigny was right.
Yeah. Looking around the league, I'll take not knowing which goalie to go with because there's so many teams struggling for goaltending that for the Coyotes to have two like very consistent goalies for the most part, that's a huge plus. So it doesn't even matter to me. It's just for us trying to guess. We're not very good at it.
Look, right now the Avs would take one consistent goalie. It's been a pretty up and down year for Georgiev as the starter for the Avs. We've been asking for him to be better for a while now. He's done a lot of being good enough where the Avs can kind of outscore their problems there, but we'll see. The bill of goods I was sold on Prosvetov, I don't know if I'm convinced by you guys. So.
I don't know who sold that to you because it wasn't us.
No, no. I honestly, I was going to ask you that very thing. First of all, we're hoping to see Prosvetov in one of these two games. It's probably not going to happen, but he hasn't played very much. He's a guy that can have a couple good games. He can string a couple good games, and then all of a sudden the bottom falls out and he has a bunch of bad games. There was the internal belief in this organization that he was not yet ready to be a backup NHL goalie. I got to admit, I agree. I don't understand what the Avs are doing, so maybe you can explain that. Maybe they just want to give their other prospect more time in the A.
I don't understand either. Justus Annunen, which was ideally their third-string goalie, was injured for a bit this season, but he was healthy at the start of the year. A lot of people's expectation was he was going to be that guy when Pavel Francouz was injured. Avs didn't feel the same way about it. They went out and got Prosvetov. If I'm being honest, I don't love it. Have not seen kind of what you already said. I would expect more from a backup than what I've seen from Prosvetov. So there are people in the Avs organization certainly that believe in him and that he is capable of filling that role. He's had a couple good games here and there. He's also had some rough ones. So I would not expect to see him on the post-Christmas game. I think it will be Georgiev again for the Avs on that one, because we are in a situation where both of these teams need wins right now. The Avs are battling for the top of the division. They fell out of that top spot. They're 2 points back of Winnipeg now. And the Coyotes are battling for the last wild card spot in the West. Realistically, for you guys, can the Coyotes cling to that spot? Can they push into that position in this division, or in the Central Division, but in the Western Conference as well?
Go ahead, Leah.
I think the one thing the Coyotes have going for them is the West kind of sucks. It's very top heavy, and then it's everybody else. And you've already seen some parity with St. Louis surging and then dropping off, and now Nashville surging. And throughout that whole time, Arizona's pretty much clung on to at least one of the two wild card spots, which has been impressive, I think, to the three of us over at PHNX. I'm not sure if we expected this, but looking at the West, it's just a really weird situation. You don't know what's going to happen with Edmonton. They surge back, but every loss puts them in a position a harder position for themselves. So if the Coyotes are going to cling to it, I think it'll be a little bit of a mix of them doing well, but also the other teams failing around them.
Yeah, and that's it succinctly, really. I mean, I still believe Edmonton is going to get this together and be a playoff team at least. They're just, even though that roster is incredibly flawed and I don't think they're going to win a cup. Some people were saying they were a cup contender. I don't believe that with that roster. I think they'll get it together enough to be a playoff team. It's just a matter of whether one of those other teams does as well, because I don't think the Coyotes are jumping into the top three in this division. So is Minnesota going to figure it out at some point? We thought they'd be a lot better. I don't think Nashville is very good. I don't think St. Louis is very good. I don't think Calgary is very good. So it's almost like, hey, why not us? That might be the attitude of the Coyotes because there's an opening here.
Certainly see, you mentioned Calgary. Seattle, too, has regressed quite a bit this year. So it does feel like that door might be open. Can Arizona walk through it is the question. And that leads me to Logan Cooley. Based on the goal Connor Bedard scored not 15 minutes ago, Logan Cooley probably not going to win the Calder. But is he living up to expectations in Arizona?
Expectations were high for Logan Cooley, and he did not help himself when Leah and I were in Australia to watch him score that ridiculous goal that still may be the goal of the season. If I'm being honest, no, he hasn't met those expectations. I think he's been underwhelming, particularly at 5-on-5. You can look at his metrics and you'll come away with that same opinion. He's not driving play. He's making mistakes with the puck. I don't think he's figured out NHL space and time yet, what he can do here versus what he can do at the University of Minnesota. It may come. We may see the light bulb just go on at some point and suddenly Logan Cooley takes off. I don't know yet. There's a lot of skill and there's a lot of speed there. But right now, I would say, and you can see it in the points, he's getting most of his points on the power play. He's just not impacting the game enough on 5-on-5. And there are stretches where Andre has to pull him back and say, you got to play a certain way if you're going to play in this league, because he's making those sorts of mistakes that you can't make in the NHL.
Yeah, absolutely. I think fans are feeling maybe a little bit disappointed. He's been on 3 of 4 lines already. He's been centering the 4th line lately, which I know has a lot of Coyotes fans scratching their head. But for Andre Tourigny, I think it's an opportunity for him to get more touches. But you look at his stats; he only has, I think, 3 goals, which is not gonna win you the Calder. And we saw Matias Maccelli last season dominate rookie assists, but it didn't even get him to be a Calder finalist. So after Logan Cooley scored in essentially every preseason game and then has failed to score much since, in that sense, it's been disappointing.
Yeah, just to follow up one more time on that, Rudo, like you talked about the Calder Trophy. Right now, Logan Cooley is not a finalist for the Calder Trophy, let alone a winner. He's got some work to do to impress people. There may still be the reputation out there that some people vote on or have the impression that he's doing better than he is because of the points. But to me, I don't even think he's a Calder finalist right now.
I think that's fair. Do you have a top 3 for the Calder? I know we're pretty big on Mintyukov over here at DNVR.
I am too. I mean, you look at what Hughes is doing. If Brock Faber continued to do what he's doing, those guys could be in the race. But again, as we said at the top, actually we said off air, this is Connor Bedard's. You saw him score the Michigan tonight. There's nobody that's going to give him a run for it. He's going to run away with the Calder Trophy this year.
No doubt who's going to be at the top of that list, barring injury or something crazy happening. So the rest of the Coyotes lineup, it feels like you guys have gotten pretty consistently what you expect out of guys like Clayton Keller, Lawson Krause. Who's the biggest surprise of the Arizona lineup this year?
Go ahead, Leah.
I mean, the biggest surprise for me, I think, is back to goaltending is Connor Ingram, just because he had a high praise coming in, but you never know with a goalie. But he has been extremely solid. And if you look back at the 5-game winning streak that the Coyotes were on, hopefully another one tonight. Sorry, everyone. all the Avs fans watching. But he won every single one of those games, and he had an extra start on there. So he's been hot for me. I know that's the easy answer, saying Connor Ingram when we already spent time talking about him. But you mentioned that some of those other guys are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that's why I turned to Connor Ingram. Craig, I don't know if you have a different point on that.
He's definitely on the short list. But the other guy that I'd have to point to is Michael Carcone, who's tied for the lead in goals on this team. And when we talked about him at the start of the season, we thought, oh, he's a guy that'll play some fourth line minutes. He'll be in and out of the lineup. That's what we expected. He was on his first one-way contract. You know, he showed some things last year, but I don't think he showed us anything like what he's shown this year. And you can look inside those numbers and say the shooting percentage is way too high. He's going to regress. Some of these things, he's going to come back to earth a little bit. But he's got 14 goals already. The guy's going to get to 20 goals. I don't think any of us saw that coming when the season started.
I've certainly fallen in love with Carcone as a non-Arizona follow the team every night type guy. I am a sucker for highly efficient goal scorers, though. So him, Ross Colton on the Avs side, kind of a similar style of player. Can't get enough of that in your depth. You've talked about maybe Logan Cooley not living up to those expectations. You haven't seen Barrett Hayton really do what he did last season for Arizona either. Does Arizona feel a little bit weak down the middle to you guys? Or maybe the better question is, what is Arizona's biggest weakness this season?
Like for the past 20 years, they've been weak down the middle, Rudo. That's been forever. Yes. And obviously Barrett Hayton's injured right now. He's been out of the lineup for a while. And I think we at least saw the value that he gave Nick Schmaltz and Clayton Keller when he was in the lineup, because they can't play the same way. They love to operate with that high cycle in the zone, and Barrett goes to the net, creates space for him. Well, if you don't have that, the defense comes up a little higher and it's harder for them to find space and make the plays. So I think we at least saw the value. Having said that, you can't be a number one center and produce at the level that Barrett Hayton is producing. He doesn't belong there. The only reason he's there is, as usual, the Coyotes center position lacks depth and lacks those elite guys at the top of the lineup. They hope that Logan Cooley will be that at some point, but they probably need even more depth at the center position. Connor Geekie could fill it. Who knows when he comes along? It's been an issue with this franchise ever since Jeremy Roenick left town.
It's also shocking because you look at the injured list. You had Barrett Hayton out till February, Travis Boyd out for the year, Jack McBain missed more than 10 games, and you looked at the center depth of this team and said, like, who is there? And I want to shout out this guy because I think Karen in the chat mentioned it as a surprise player, and that's Alex Kerfoot, as somebody who's really, I think, exceeded expectations for the Coyotes this year. So I want to make sure he gets some acknowledgement, because he has really been that utility knife, I guess, for this team is the best way to describe him, and he's played every single position, and now he's the top line center, and he's finding success in that role, success on the first power play, which, maybe when you watch Alex Kerfoot in Toronto, you didn't feel that same way about him, just as maybe from a fan perspective. But center depth, there pretty much is none, yet somehow guys are stepping up like Alex Kerfoot.
Smart Money has Alex Kerfoot scoring a goal tonight. The ex-player curse, always strong in Colorado. So bet on it right there. I have 3 keys for the Avs side of this game that we'll get to first, and then you guys can give your keys for Arizona if you have them. Starting off with number 1. It's no secret Nathan MacKinnon had the first ever 4-goal game in Avalanche history the other night. I'll let him run. Just do his thing. Nathan MacKinnon is arguably the best player in the world on any given night. Over the course of a long stretch, it's probably top 3, top 5, whatever you want to call it. Not going to argue with it. He's that good. Sometimes you just get out of his way and let him do the work. And then, second overall key. Look, a lot of nonsense in Avs Coyotes games, as we've talked about. Avs got to work hard. Don't let those funny bounces get ahead of you. If you're winning the battles, if you're winning the races, if you have the puck, you can't have funny bounces go against you. I think that one's pretty simple. As Eric always says, you go to Pizza Hut, you score goals. It's that simple. On to number 3, power play. Avs special teams have been part of the roller coaster that the Colorado Avalanche as a team has been this season. When they score power play goals, they usually go on to win the game. They had 4 the other night. Not expecting it to that level, but you got to win the special teams battle to really give yourself the best opportunity to win. Again, it eliminates some of the nonsense if you're able to capitalize on your opportunities. So those are the Avs' 3 keys of the game. I'm curious what you guys need to see Arizona do to win this one.
So I actually, Petey sent his keys to the game in our Discord this morning, and apologies that Petey couldn't make this pregame show. But for those who don't know, Petey was a video coach in the NHL for 23 years. So these are his keys to tonight's games for the Coyotes against the Avs. Number 1, stay above MacKinnon, which he said means stay between him and your goalie in all 3 zones. You have to be aware when he's on the ice, which, kind of looking at your guys' key, one of them's MacKinnon. So those are we'll see who has the edge there. His second key, continue to shoot. The Coyotes have been putting more pucks on net lately, shoot from everywhere. Number 3, mistake-free. Turnovers in the D zone and the blue lines have been a problem all season. Need to limit against one of the fastest NHL teams. Don't create your own problems. Number 4, stay out of the box. And as Petey wrote, that means you, Liam O'Brien, can't let some of the most skilled players in the game have the man advantage. And number 5, goaltending. So Petey's keys. There you go.
I want to underscore number 4, stay the hell out of the box against this team. The Coyotes take a lot of penalties too, and that's a good power play. Obviously, you mentioned they've been a little hot and cold, but I don't want to give that team opportunities on the power play. The Coyotes have their hands full already without giving them those sorts of opportunities.
Look, when you're down a guy and you have to defend MacKinnon, Rantanen, and Makar, you're in trouble. I think that's just the reality of that situation. I did love, I think it was number 3 as well, because the Avs are a team as well that has had a ton of problems between the blue lines. A lot of goals scored against this team are turnovers of their own making. They give up odd man rushes on their own faults. We've seen it against Arizona. That's how they capitalized and won their first matchup of this season. Is this an issue that plagues every hockey team to a certain extent? Or is this more of the West is bad, like we talked about earlier?
I don't know. I don't know how to explain that for Colorado, because Colorado is not bad. Colorado is an elite team. Colorado is a cup contender, the team that I picked to win it all at the start of the season. But it's just, it's just a matter of making good decisions with the puck. And sometimes, look, anybody who has the puck a lot is going to turn it over more than someone who doesn't. But in the way the Avs play, I would expect them to turn the puck over sometimes. But yeah, that's something they'll have to shore up. I wanted to ask you something going back. You mentioned that the Avs have had sort of up and down goaltending, inconsistent goaltending. They kind of got that from Darcy Kemper when they won the cup, at least in the playoffs. Are they still built well enough? Are they deep enough where they could do that again? Could they be one of those teams where it's like you get good enough goaltending, you'll be fine because this team is just so good?
The short answer is no. They just don't have the forward depth this year to do that. The long answer is maybe in a world where you get to the playoffs and they're fully healthy, where Gabe Landeskog magically heals from his now 2-year-long knee injury. If they go out and get, say, an Elias Lindholm at the deadline, something like that, there's a world where they could get to that level, but the way they're built right now, no. They just simply would need better goaltending to truly be a cup contender. I think a lot of people here believe Georgiev can be that guy, but right now he's got a sub-900 save percentage 32 games into the season. It's just not good enough. So, I don't want to say never, because I do think it's possible the Avs get to a forward level that could get them there. Obviously, their defense, when healthy, is top 3 in the league. That part of their game is great. No complaints there. But I think they're going to need certainly better goaltending than they got in their cup run to be able to get it across the finish line, if they can get that far. All right. I have some bets here. I'm not sure if you guys have bets on your side as well, but I did make sure to include at least one Arizona bet in my Bet 365 bets, and that's Logan Cooley getting a point tonight. He's plus money. It doesn't have to be a goal. He doesn't have to snipe. Just pick up one of those secondary assists. I'll cash my money. I'm also taking the over on saves for Georgiev. As we were talking about, he's been a bit inconsistent. I'm going to keep betting on him until he turns the corner. I'm a believer. The saves are going to start coming in. He's going to start playing better. And then Jonathan Drouin points continue to be an easy one for this pregame show. The money is just too good not to put a little bit down on Drouin. He's got points in his last 5 games. Throw it on the PP, you get plus 270 there. So a lot of opportunity to make money on players or betting on Arizona. It can be hard to bet on the Avalanche and find plus money at times. But whatever team you're betting for, make sure you do it with Bet365. You can go over there and use the DNVR 365 code when you sign up to get amazing odds boosts every single day. And of course, when you do go over there, make sure you are 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. What are your guys' successful bets over on the Coyotes that you hit consistently?
So Craig doesn't bet, but I'll give some bets out for this one. Because I actually have some, I guess, nuggets. But this is all Coyote centric. But you can make money on the other team. So Clayton Keller has a goal in 4 of his last 5 games against the Avalanche and a point in 7 straight. So you can take Keller anytime goal or anytime point tonight. And another one, Michael Kesselring. He has been on fire for the Coyotes since he got called up in November. He leads all Coyotes defensemen in goals and points. So potentially anytime point there for Michael Kesselring. Those are some picks that I have. Clayton Keller is also on a 3-game goal scoring streak. So he's been a little bit on fire lately. So there's my picks. We'll see.
I hate to shout out Petey right now because he didn't even show up tonight, and we should be trashing him right now. Is what should be happening. But
that's true.
I don't know if you know about the walking and talking bump, Rudo, but it's kind of a thing. When Petey walks and talks with a player, there's a 1-game delay, and then they go out a heater. And Michael Kesselring is the latest example of that. So beware.
Michael Carcone was the first this season, so we've seen how that's gone.
Is the walking and talking bump the mullet magician's best magic trick? Is that what it is?
I mean, they're 2 different people, Rudo, so I don't know. We don't actually know who the mullet magician is.
Fair enough. All right, I think we have one super chat, and then we can get to our final thoughts leading into tonight's game. Roaring Fork with the $5 says, "I'm disappointed Craig isn't still in his Qantas pajamas." I'm assuming
sorry maybe on the post game tonight, buddy. Maybe on the post game.
There are a handful of, or maybe a lot even, of the PHNX folks in chat. So just wanted to say hello. Thank you for stopping by and supporting your crew and showing up on the DNVR YouTube channel. We appreciate y'all. Final thoughts going into tonight. I'll ask you this. Who is this game more important for from y'all's perspective? Arizona or Colorado?
You can go first on this one, Leah.
I don't know. I mean, Arizona has a unique opportunity because Nashville lost in such dramatic fashion today to end the night with the first wild card spot. I know for Colorado, they have the opportunity for that. I think first place, they can get that tonight. So maybe that's more important for Colorado. But for Arizona to get one on the road against Colorado, they're playing essentially a back-to-back, just 4 days apart. They'll have the mullet advantage on Wednesday. So with that, I feel like it's slightly more important for Colorado because Arizona will have the opportunity again at home. But the chance at the first wild card is too good to pass up. So that was kind of a vague answer. I didn't really give a one way or the other. I'm curious, Craig's thoughts.
I'm going to go with Arizona all the way because there's no way in hell that Colorado is missing the playoffs, okay? They're going to be a top 1 or 2 seed in their division, wherever that is. The Coyotes are trying to, forgive the cliche, scratch and claw their way into the postseason. All of these points are important for them right now. They're on a little bit of a run. It'd be nice for them to finish it off before the break with their 5th straight win, their second 5-game winning streak of the season, and get a little bit of breathing room because while, the other teams, as we mentioned, aren't necessarily playing all that well, there's not a lot of breathing room between them and a big group of teams. So they need to bank as many points as they can. It's more important to the Coyotes for me because they're not a sure thing like the Avalanche.
With you 100%. I think it's more important for Arizona. And chat, I just want to let you know, in 10 minutes, Craig said the Avs are top cup contenders and they're not missing the playoffs. So don't ever call me a homer again. All right. This is everybody in the league sees this. One last thing. What did Arizona do to pay off the schedulers that multiple years in a row the Avs have the same day travel game to Arizona? How does that happen?
It happens because Arizona has the worst schedule every year. So that's the one thing that they actually have in their favor.
It's to throw people off the scent. Yeah, just do them one favor the entire season and then just screw them with travel the rest of the year.
Well, don't do it to the Avalanche anymore. Do it to some other poor team, all right?
It's awful, by the way. I don't think a team should have to travel day of game ever. And I know most of these road trips are really close. They try to at least keep teams nearby, but that's a rough situation for any team.
It is what it is. I would change it. I'd just let them travel on the 26th if it were up to me, or just take the fine. Do what the Leafs did. That'd be fine too.
There you go. But they can afford it, so.
Well, the Cronkies can afford it. It'll be all right. That's all I got. If there's anything else you guys want to say or shout out where you can find yourselves, go for it.
Go ahead.
We'll just shout out our team account at PHNX_Coyotes on Twitter, and you can catch us on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel as well. Obviously, it's really great to collaborate with you guys. So for the Coyotes fans who are here, make sure you check out DNVR Abs as well. And for those of you on the other side interested in some Coyotes coverage, we're talking Coyotes 5 days a week on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel.
Speaking of collaboration, Megan Angley was part of a writer roundtable today for All City Sports, where Charlie O'Connor from PHLY and Mario Terabasi from Chicago also participated. We're hoping to do that more. I like collaborating with our other outlets, so this is fun. Let's do this again, guys.
Oh, I think Rudo might be muted.
Oh.
There we go.
We all have to at very least agree we're all going to the Sphere for the draft, right?
Oh,
It's
see you there.
All right. Well, I appreciate you two for coming on. We are going to wrap up this pregame show as we are inside 10 minutes from puck drop. We will be live, or at least I will be live postgame. I'm sure they will be doing their own postgame over on PHNX Sports. So go tune into those after the game. We appreciate all of you, and we will talk to you later.
We all silly like the mayor.